Hi, I'm Laura Nolette, and this is Meredith Curtis, and we are Powerline Productions. We have powerlineprod.com, a website full of information and helpful products. We sell a ton of books out of that website.
Yes, we do.
We are here to help you with your homeschooling. We have a lot of fun with writing the books and putting them together, and we record a podcast
Yes.
twice a month. So on the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network, we have the Finish Well podcast, and
Yes.
you can find us there. And we both teach at True North Homeschool Academy, which is an online homeschool academy where we teach a variety of courses between the two of us. We
Yeah.
cover science, history, geography, literature, and computer science. I think
Yeah.
covers
I think
everything.
that's everything.
Yeah, I think so too. So, before we started teaching these online classes, we have worked with our local co-ops
Yes.
and taught some pretty good sized groups of kids. And we discovered, more you than me, but I had fun with it, a really fun way to teach history. And I want to talk to you about that today, about history labs.
Cool.
Everybody's heard of science labs, but who's heard of history labs before?
Well, I love the concept of history labs. I think I made it up, but maybe I stole it from someone. I do so much reading of homeschool stuff, but I think I made it up. And I just decided, let's teach history in a different way. So we'll have the class and we'll all learn, and then we'll have labs, and we might have a mapping lab or a music lab or an art lab. We might have a craft lab. We might have a cooking lab. And we did that, and the kids absolutely loved it. For example, when we did the 20th century history course, his story of the 20th century, we had from 4 years old to senior in high school.
Yes, we
It was
did.
a very large group. And so when we divided up for the actual lessons, and they all were reading different books, but we came together for the labs.
Mhm.
And for example, one of the girls, remember Patty did the map contest?
Yes.
So she did a map lab once a month, and it for once every decade. So I think that was every third week she did a map lab, and she had a contest, and she gave prizes for the best maps in each grade level. So that was her lab. And then my friend Mary did a fine arts lab where she, each decade of the 20th century, she had art that they would look at and they would appreciate and enjoy. And that was really fun too. But we did other labs that were really silly and fun. Like when we learned about skyscrapers, we got a ton of boxes and we divided into two teams, and they tried to build the tallest skyscraper they could with their boxes. And that did teach them a little bit about some physics principles, I think.
So did they pull that trick like the builder of the which was it, the Empire State Building, where at the very last minute he put the great big permanent mast at the top so that he could win the contest?
That's what they tried to do, but that didn't count.
Oh, good.
But we did all kinds. We did rocket labs. I remember we did punch. No, that was for American history. We did punch 10, I remember. But like you did music labs.
Oh, I loved the music labs. Yeah, I would she would give me a whole bunch of songs or tell me an era, and I would find recordings of the songs to play for the students. And every week I thought they're never going to go for this, but I'm going to hand them lyrics and I'm going to encourage them to sing along with me. I am not the best singer on the
Yes,
planet,
you
but
are.
but
Yes.
but I can carry a tune, and
Yes.
that's what was important. And they always sang along with me. And if there was ever like a dance that was involved with it, sometimes we would dance around a little bit, but we would just be silly. And then, of course, when we got up into the 80s, MTV, videos. So I started playing videos for them, and they're like, "You listen to this kind of stuff?" I'm like, "Oh, we love this kind of stuff." So
You know
it was
what
so
makes
much
me
fun.
laugh about the music labs? Remember, we had the tango and we tried to teach the kids to do the tango.
Yeah.
And of course, it was like they were not good at the
Well, none of us
tango.
knew what we were doing.
But now Laura takes ballroom dancing,
Now
and
I know how to
so she
tango.
does know how to tango. So it's
So
just kind of funny. But we just had so much fun with the labs. One of my favorite labs, and this is going to sound so lazy, but it was called couch potato. And what we did is we watched back to back sitcoms. So a sitcom from the 40s, from the 50s, from the 60s, from the
Yep.
70s, from the 80s, from the 90s.
Yep.
And then afterward, we talked about the differences between the earlier sitcoms and
Yeah.
the later sitcoms.
Yeah.
It was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So I was expecting them to talk about the slang or the fads or the clothes or things like that. But you know what they said? The
I
main thing
remember.
they said people were so much kinder in
Um,
the early decades and they were really rude in the later decades.
yeah. Mhm.
And I thought, oh my goodness, that is so true.
Yeah.
That is just kind of what happened. In the earlier decades, you wore gloves to church and a little
Mhm.
hat, and men held the door for ladies, and you were always kind and always sweet. And by the
Yeah.
end, there was just a different culture.
Um,
So that was just kind of interesting. Another favorite lab for the kids, not necessarily for me, but for the kids, was we would do game labs. And so, they might play Scrabble or they played Monopoly for the 30s. They played what was it for the I can't remember if Clue was the 60s, but anyway, they played board games and Uno, of course, for the 90s because everyone played Uno. If
Everyone.
you were a Christian, you definitely played Uno after Sunday night church. That was back in the days when you still had church on
Yeah.
Sunday nights too, after Sunday morning. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. And one of the things that I love about our series, His Story of the 20th Century, is all the history labs.
Yeah.
Because I think kids really enjoy that. They designed an amusement park. They plan a trip on Route 66.
Yep.
They design an airline and make an airline commercial. And
Didn't they design a putt-putt golf course?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I remember some of the kids came dressed up as the
Uh-huh.
30s. That was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. That
So
was a lot of fun.
anyway, if you want to do that in your homeschool co-op, in your home, the series is called His Story of the 20th Century. That's the textbook. There's workbooks, answer keys, even a cookbook, and for middle school and high school. And I think that also I teach the class on True on at True North Homeschool Academy.com, and you can sign up for that class as well for high school students, but middle school students are welcome too.
Well, thanks for coming out and joining us. God bless you
God bless
and
you.
be blessed in your homeschooling.